Why does anybody need freaking 91 Sinnoh stones, dude? Right, you battlers, you know what it is. JayDevin back at it with another Go Battle League video.
Another one.
We finally did it. Super duper hype. We broke through to rank 9. After the second set, I only ran 2 sets using this team, which got me all the way to rank 9. Very, very dominant team, very, very dominant strategy. And it's super simple. Lead a Azumarill, save 1, possibly 2 shields if you can, and then trust Haunter. So again, this is a super duper meta line. If that's not the kind of Go Battle League content you're looking for, this video is not for you. We're trying to hit rank 10. So game 1 here, we see a Medicham open, definitely won that lead. They swapped to answer with Venusaur, so I'm going to answer with the Registeel at this point. And I do want to give a shout out to my guy, ValorAsh. You probably already know who he is. If you don't and you live under a rock in the PvP community, ValorAsh streams on Twitch, and he also obviously is on Twitter. I do strongly encourage you to follow ValorAsh on both platforms. I'll put the link in the description below. But yeah, this is, I can't really say that ValorAsh alone inspired me to use Haunter. It more was honestly for this sets and for this team specifically to push through to rank 9. This was 100% me, but ValorAsh basically made, ValorAsh has a special relationship with Haunter. Haunter made ValorAsh, and ValorAsh made Haunter in PvP. That's kind of the relationship that they have. So, basically anytime I'm going to use Haunter, and you'll see it in a video, I'm going to give Mason a shout out. So again, links in the description below if you want to follow him. But yeah, Haunter can be so dominant. Now, there are a few specific points while we're looking at these battles that I want to make about Haunter. Okay, so the worst case scenario with Haunter is you get a matchup against an Umbreon, which can be kind of common. You can probably count on running into an Umbreon, or if they bring a normal dark like a Alolan Raticate. I really doubt that's ever going to happen, but matchups like that, darks and normals or normal darks, he does not want to see. That's going to hard shut him down. And I had 9 wins out of these 2 sets, so I did lose 1. And it's because somebody, for some reason, somebody actually decided to close with a Wigglytuff. Who closes with a Wigglytuff, dude? Who? I could have had a 10 for 10 and some guys to close with a Wigglytuff, dude. Bruh. Anyways, I'm kind of salty about that, but respect. I think they were probably counting on people trying to push through with Haunter, and it ended up working for them, and that's the loss we took in these 2 sets. So, but yeah, Haunter, aside from the matchups, obviously, that you have to worry about, the biggest thing I love about him is Haunter can sweep. He can completely destroy. If you're wondering, why are so many PvP content creators making videos and featuring Haunter? I'm seeing Haunter all over the place, but I don't like using it, or I've tried to use it and I haven't really had success with it. Well, hopefully this video at least gives you a little more insight if you're struggling a bit with Haunter on how to use it, and I guess, that's how I use it. Lead a Azumarill, save 1 to 2 shields, and then just trust Haunter. Trust him, and he will pull through. Save as much health as you possibly can on the Haunter. I don't like leading with Haunter, not at all. I feel like that's pretty risky. I actually love Azumarill as a lead, and I chose to lead with Azumarill specifically because the worst case scenario, as far as the top meta and what people actually bring to ranks 8 to rank 8 in Go Battle League, the worst case scenario is they lead with Meganium, a Venusaur, a Victory Bell, right? If they lead with that grass, that's the worst thing I have to worry about, and I have that swap available with Registeel. Even if they lead Meganium, I would still swap with Registeel. Because I need to save 1 to 2 shields, and I'm going to trust Haunter. And I have seen a couple times too, see, here's a Shadow Victory Bell lead, so I dip out, swap in with the Registeel. This person ended up answering with a Shadow Firefang Mawile, I guess. So maybe they were inspired by PokeAK. Shout out to my guy PokeAK as well. Link will be in the description below. He loves using the Shadow Mawile with Firefang. I don't think there's a Shadow though. But he's had a few videos featuring Mawile where he powered up a Shadow one that has great PvP IVs, uses Firefang, Power Up Punch, and then I believe Play Rough. So that's the thing about Mawile and why I don't really like to use it and why I haven't made any videos featuring Mawile for Go Battle League. Simply because, please don't hate on me in the comments for this, but I just don't feel like Mawile can actually hang with the top meta. Not quite yet. If you get the lead and the battle works out perfectly, then you can dominate with Mawile, but I just don't feel like it's that that reliable of a pick, to be honest. But again, anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. I'm just super excited because we hit rank 9 and now we're starting the road to rank 10. But with Haunter, I mean, even against the victory bells, he's going to resist the Razor Leaf. His typing and his resistances gives him huge advantages. So, you know, for example, as well, even if they bring a counter user, he does not care about the counter damage. He doesn't care about fighting damage. He cares a little bit about grass damage from the likes of Frenzy Plant users like Meganium, Venusaur, etc. But if you play it right, he can still tank one. But his matchups, he will have a lot of great matchups where he can basically farm. Kind of an iffy matchup, as you can see right now, would be against an Altaria, because obviously that, you know, super quick and heavy Dragon Breath damage, Haunter does not like to see that. He's super squishy. And also, I don't know why I didn't mention this yet. You can see on my Haunter, on my my IVs on my Haunter are terrible, terrible. ValorAsh would not be proud of the IV spread on this Haunter, but number one, I don't really have a Haunter or a Ghastly with good PvP IVs. Someday I will get the rank 1. I know it's going to happen, only a matter of time. But for right now, I mean, when I looked into this Haunter, it was the first shiny Ghastly that I caught, which I believe was actually, I want to say it was in Chicago. I think this was my Chicago shiny Ghastly from GoFest last year. And the IV terrible is spread, but number one, it was shiny. Number two, the Legacy came back for Haunter with the Shadow Ball. And then number three, when I looked into his IV spread and powering him up, he did come out to be exactly 1500 from what you can see on the combat power. So that's why I did it, okay? Hate on me in the comments if you want, but that's why I did it. If I had a great PvP IV Haunter, 100%, I would stop using this one and use the one with better PvP IVs, because he does have some matchups that swing just based on his PvP IV spread, namely Skarmory. Okay, so again, you know, with that being said, shout out to ValorAsh. He knows everything there is to, I don't know about that. That might be a stretch, but he is very well versed and very knowledgeable as far as using Haunter in PvP, more so than myself. Most of the things that I know about Haunter for PvP and how to use it are thanks to ValorAsh. So again, links will be in the description below. But anyways, he has those farmable matchups. He has pretty dominating matchups. He does have matchups you don't want to see, such as the Darks and the Normals, which is why I feel like I don't want to open with him, and he sits perfectly next to Azumarill and Registeel. And that kind of brings me into my next point, right? Registeel, lock on. Haunter does not care about lock on from a Registeel. He will farm that Registeel, and that's why if you save, I'm sorry, this one, if you save one shield or even two shields, Haunter will go to Farm City on a Registeel. He will farm down with just Shadow Claw and have tons of energy for their next Pokemon coming in. And a lot of the times people anticipate the bait with the Shadow Punch from a Haunter, which is why more often than not, I find myself just going straight for the Shadow Ball. Because if they have, you know, just one shield left, they're gonna be like, okay, I gotta save this shield. They're probably gonna bait, I'm not gonna shield, and then boom, boom, the Shadow Ball, like it's done. Haunter can close games. I'm probably gonna use that in the thumbnail. Haunter closes. He can completely destroy. So this is not a great matchup, sorry, over here. This is not a great matchup against the Swampert, obviously, but they didn't have the energy really that they needed to close on the Registeel, so that's going to be GG's. Those are like my main points I wanted to make on Haunter, so now we will just cast the next set. All right, and this is the set that broke us through now to rank 9. I literally did this set just before I sat down to record this video. Obviously, it took me a minute to get the graphics and whatever put together, but this is the last set that I did. I still have a ton of sets ready for today for Go Battle League, so hopefully I can get, I want to say to 2700-ish, 2650 to 2700 is my goal for the end of the day today after this video goes up. But there, what you can see from right now, I wanted to stop for a second while I was recording because I was at what, 2473-ish, 2473. So I'm like, okay, I know if I get a 5-0, I'm going to hit rank 9. And even if I lose one and I get a 4-1, I should still hit rank 9. So game one here for the set that broke me through to rank 9. They open up with a Bastiodon, dude. I love Bastiodon. He's the monster tank, but again, we're leading with the Azumarill, so Bastiodon as a lead is not so favorable for them. Bastiodon overall can kind of be risky as a lead. If anything, if I ever use Bastiodon, I feel like I'd want to keep it in the back potentially. But anyways, that's a completely different topic. So they answered with the Blossom. Obviously, I'm going to answer with the Registeel. They're going to be throwing the Flamethrower at us, which will be super effective. But coming from a Bastiodon, I'm not going to use a shield. What I actually decided to do, since we are 2v2 shields, is I throw bait with the Flash Cannon, which is a successful bait. It gets the shield, and then I know, okay, they're going to go for another Flamethrower, and I can hit the Focus Blast, so I'm just going to throw up one more shield, and then I'm not going to bait this time. I will just straight up throw the Focus Blast, and then we'll see what they do. Because Bastiodon can be a pretty big problem against the Haunter with that smackdown damage. So from what you can see, like I said, it's farmable. Haunter can farm down a Registeel like that. That was like a very ideal situation for my opponent. So it kind of had me scared just a little bit, but we ended up taking it because we have our own Haunter to answer with the Shadow Claw damage. And then I actually saved my Haunter, swapped into a Azumarill, and then basically just closed with a Bubble Down on their Haunter. So in that game, I know Azumarill ended up closing, but I technically closed with the Haunter for that game. So GG's. This is the worst case scenario for this line. Obviously, somebody opens up at the grass. Like I said, even if it's a Meganium, I'm going to answer with the Registeel, and I'm just going to call their bait, which I believe they did. Yeah, they straight baited with the Frenzy Plant. I wouldn't have shielded either way because the Earthquake is not going to one-hit KO a Registeel in the Great League. And we throw the Flash Cannon at the Azumarill that they come in with. And this is still not exactly ideal with my team comp that I have with the Azumarill, Registeel, and Haunter. So I believe I do use a shield because I want to throw another Flash Cannon because I'm like, okay, they already won the lead and they can potentially Hydro Pump me. So I want to use at least one shield, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll swap out with the Azumarill, and if they bring out, I'm going to farm down basically. In this specific matchup, I'm going to farm down their Azumarill. I'm not going to shield a thing they're going to throw at me. And if they want to answer again with the grass, I save the energy on the Registeel. I'm going to throw the Ice Beam immediately at the Meganium. And I believe I can get back-to-back Ice Beam. So worst case scenario, they instantly throw a Frenzy Plant. And from what you can see, they did. So I'm going to let that go. Okay, let it go. Don't just let it go. Don't save the Pokemon. Save the shield for the other Pokemon that you have. Let's say that one more time. Don't save the Pokemon. Save the shield for the other Pokemon that you have. So we come out with the Registeel. They opt to throw another Frenzy Plant. So now we're at a one Pokemon versus one Pokemon, one shield versus one shield scenario. But I've saved the shield for this Haunter. So I'm going to bait. I throw the Shadow Punch. They didn't shield. So I'm like, oh no. Oh no, I probably should have baited. So at this point, I just throw another Shadow Punch, and that time we did get the shield. But Haunter, his energy gain was Shadow Claw, his bait ability was Shadow Punch, and then having Shadow Ball, Registeel gets owned. Registeel gets destroyed. Shadow Ball to the dome, GG's trainer. Let's go to the next battle. That was kind of a sweaty one. All right, here we go again into the next battle up against Andrew McBride here. So again, open up with Azumarill. We catch a Marowak lead, which we definitely won that lead. That's a hard win on that lead. And they answer with their own Azumarill. So I'm like, okay, well, probably has play rough, but I want to retain swap advantage and I don't want to use any shields. So I'm going to make this kind of a painful situation for them. I'm just going to farm up a little bit and throw some Ice Beams to see if we can get a shield or not as well, which we do not get a shield, but we still are at least, chipping away little bit by little bit to their Azumarill. They throw a play rough. Our Azumarill's getting very low, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't think we're going to get any shields, so I'm just going to throw the Hydro Pump because it's going to land, which it did. Now that Azumarill on their side's getting a little low, so I'm not too worried about my Azumarill. I'm going to let it go down because I like it as a tanky lead to either swap and play off of that or just let the lead go and then save my shields. That's basically the thought process behind this team, right? So now their Azumarill here, I'm like, you know what? At this range, I really don't want to take a Hydro Pump or anything, but I definitely still want to save my shields. I'll see what they do. I'm going to throw the Flash Cannon at the Azumarill to see if we get a shield or the KO, and we get the KO. So I'm like, okay, it makes me a little questionable as to what they have in the back, right? What do they have in the back? Because it seems like they're saving everything for this Haunter. So I'm like, okay, I'll do an aggressive swap with Haunter into the Alolan Marowak, and here's the Wigglytuff, dude. Who closes with a Wigglytuff? What is this? This is like one of the only matchups that Haunter does not want to see, and somebody actually brought it, so I'm like, great. I could have had a 10-0, which would have been a much better video, but you know what? That respect anyways. They closed with the Wigglytuff. I will take a 9 for 10, and I'm going to hit rank 9 anyways, because again, we're so close. We're just going to hit rank 9. GG's trainer, respect to you, but I'm salty. If I ever see that Wigglytuff again, I'm going to be prepared. Going into the next battle up against L Wings here. So they open up with the Altaria. Obviously, we're going to catch that lead with the Azumarill, and they answer with the Whiscash. Okay, Altaria and Whiscash sitting in a tree. Mud bombs, mud bombs. I can't finish that rhyme. That was a bad idea anyways. Ignore that. So we throw the Ice Beam at the Whiscash. I probably should have just gone for the Hydro Pump nuke, but again, you know, Whiscash being Whiscash in the first place, how spammable he is with the Mud Shot, Mud Bomb combo, even though it's not exactly an answer for Azumarill, but sheerly just with how spammable it is coming from the Whiscash, like, you got to get rid of it. They have the Lantern here, obviously, and this isn't the best for me because I don't have a Play Rough, which would be ideal to throw against the Lantern, but at least I can throw the Hydro Pump, which still does a decent chunk from what you can see, but I'm like, at this point, with how everything's pacing, I'm just going to bring in the Haunter right now and see if I can farm down all the way, which we don't end up doing it because they swap, obviously, into their Altaria, so I'm like, okay, now it's time to throw some baits. I'm going to throw double Shadow Punch. And here's the thing with Haunter too that I like. Even if you don't close with him and win the game with him, you can take shields with him. Haunter is amazing. Again, this is why you're seeing so many PvP content creators making videos about Haunter. It's because he's amazing. He is probably one of the best Pokemon for Great League PvP, period. There's the only things he cannot stand up against are typing matchups. That's like, that's it. And even then, if you for some reason run a Sludge Bomb Haunter, he can still answer those typing matchups. Anyways, GG's trainer. Let's go into the next one here, which might be, not sure if this is going to be the last one. Either this is the last one or the next one is the last one. I think this might have been it. But we end up closing on a Whiscash with the Registeel. Okay, this might have been it, yeah. So they open up with the Deoxys here, right? And Deoxys is kind of a mind game, especially when you see it as an open. It's really just a guessing game as to whether they have Rock Slide and Thunderbolt or Rock Slide Psycho Boost. I really have never seen anybody run Thunderbolt Psycho Boost, but I guess that's always a possibility, right? But it seems like they have the Thunderbolt, so they should have Rock Slide as well, which they reveal it. Okay, so they have the Rock Slide. I probably did not need to swap out, but I did anyways because I wanted to farm down and be a little aggressive with the Haunter to just get rid of the Deoxys, because Deoxys can be a threat to both Azumarill and Registeel since it has the Thunderbolt, right? So they answer with their Registeel. Again, like I said earlier in the video, Haunter does not care about lock-on. I'm going to use the shields. Even with the shield disadvantage, I am perfectly comfortable using the shield and going to Farm City on the Registeel. Now, the bad news here is they have a Whiscash with 2 shields against my Haunter and my Deoxys, right? And the little bit of this Azumarill. So I'm in a really bad position. I basically have to sack swap. I have to sacrifice the Azumarill, or this Whiscash is going to sweep me. So I came in with the Azumarill. I throw the Ice Beam. Thank goodness we got that shield. That was huge. I needed to take that shield for this victory. Now the rest of the match is going to be playable. So I wait the full time for the timer to go down because I know that I'm going to need to pull off a clutch sacrificial swap if I want to end up winning this game. Otherwise, this Whiscash is going to sweep. So there it is. I sack swap into the Haunter. He takes the Mud Bomb. Haunter's going to take the hits. He's going to take the shields. He's going to close. He's one of the most versatile Pokemon in PvP for Great League. And we close on that Whiscash with the Focus Blast. GG's trainer. But here's super duper hype. Again, from what you can see, that set was 4 out of 1 because someone closed with a Wiggly. Again, I'm salty. Who the heck closes with a Wiggly? But they did, so GG's. And here it is, rank 9. Achieved officially. Super hype. Rating is exactly 2,500. So again, now officially begins the road to rank 10. I think I will make a video series out of it. I know that's super cliche to be like,
oh, he made a playlist that says Road to Rank 10 for Go Battle League.
Like, it is super cliche, but it's like, I feel like, you know, being a PvP content creator, now that we have Go Battle League, that's something that just has to happen. So you are going to see that. I'm going to make a whole video series about it, and we'll continue to make content like we are as far as covering the battles that I have on my channel and then featuring the teams, IV spreads, strategies, and whatnot. Pretty much the same thing, just going from rank 9 to rank 10. So anyways, if that is something you are looking forward to see, or if you would like to see that, or if you want to go through the grind to rank 10 from rank 9 with me, Subscribe if you feel my vibe, and power up punch the notification bell for all that PvP content. That's it for this video, battlers. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good stinking day.